Have you ever been doing everything right and yet you still feel like you're not really at peace with God? There was once that I feel like the Spirit was giving me conviction and asking me the question, are you following your morals and your ethics, or are you following God? Reflecting back, what it is, I'm always checking myself to make sure that I'm not doing something wrong. I'm always examining the things around me to see if there's any way that God's speaking to me in this moment that I'm missing. I'm constantly asking how to go deeper, whether to my pastor, my friends, or whoever. You're trying to grow, but it feels like you're managing yourself more than you're actually growing. So what do we turn to? We turn to more doing. We turn to more accountability, and then we get accountability buddies. We try to start our Bible studies with, what did you pray about today? What was your devotional? And we think that this is the way to keep each other accountable, to make sure that we're, doing the right things. You feel disconnect, or you want to be closer or feel closer to God. You want to go deeper in your faith. And after you've done this for months, maybe a year, maybe a few years, you don't feel like it's really solved the problem, and you've just continued to go from one thing to another, searching for the answer as to what's actually wrong here. And it starts to ask this question of, is there something wrong with me? And it kind of dawned on me, it's not a lack of effort on my end. It's not a lack of zeal. The issue instead is formation. The problem wasn't that I was struggling to do the right things. I was. The root issue was that I was trying to relate to God through self-monitoring. That constant check in yourself, that desire to stay right, that's not peace, that's hypervigilance. It looks like maturity, but it feels like fear. I think the real issue here is formation, not about doing better, not about doing more, but about identity and knowing who you are in Christ and allowing that identity really integrate into you and being that new man and watching the fruit naturally happen. I think this is why people burn out or even walk away. It's not that they weren't honest or they weren't genuine, but they couldn't endure underneath this type of hypervigilant pressure. There's no condemnation in Christ, and I think we really need to hammer that into our identity. We need to integrate that and really feel it and not just believe it. So if you're like me, and your relationship with God feels like pressure, even if it's subtle and it's not an overwhelming everyday all the time thing, you might not be following Him, but you are managing yourself instead. And there's freedom in Christ. If you're interested on more of this, I have a book called As Deep Cries Unto Deep, and I wrote it while this question was forming in me. I've developed a bit better language for it since then, but the themes and the thoughts are still prevalent.